Hey guys, so what I want to talk about today is I want to talk about guilt. You know what guilt is? Guilt is that feeling that holds us down that shouldn't. We do something and we end up being told that we did something that we really didn't do, and we start to believe it and we start to feel down and depressed. Guilt is that thing of feeling something we really didn't do. And the first thing I got to say is don't be controlled by guilt in your life. Too many times we are controlled by our guilt, and that completely affects our beliefs. It affects our causes. It affects our visions that we have. But do not let guilt control you, because a lot of times we experience guilt first as children, and guilt hurts us as a child. And we grow up realizing guilt hurts, but we become conditioned from the early ages to succumb to guilt. Now, a lot of times guilt can make you do the right thing, but a lot of times what I'm talking about here is the guilt that's placed on us by someone else or something else that's false, that's not real, that doesn't exist. So when others attempt to put guilt on you for whatever reason, and you recognize the situation, something I'd like to ask you to do is just look at these people, these situations, and just out loud and say, very politely, are you trying to make me feel guilty? Don't hesitate to be truthful. Ask people, hey, I don't mean to be rude, but are you trying to make me feel guilty? Because I guarantee you, people are going to say, oh, no, I'm not trying to. And you say, that's good, because I don't do guilt. I don't let guilt get me down. But the thing is people a lot of times they're going to try it again. They're going to, I don't know how to say this, they're going to try to do it again because, one, you're robbing them of whatever it is they're needing. So a lot of times we give in because we don't want to take from someone else, but what we don't realize is we're robbing ourselves, and we're the ones that can only help ourselves. So if somebody starts hem-hawing around, they're kind of getting back to that situation again, just look at them and say, are you trying to place guilt on me? And eventually, people, they won't be able to mask it anymore. They try to mask it by saying no, and they keep going back to it. And eventually, they're not going to be able to, and they're going to admit it. And when they finally say, well, yeah, because you did this or that or whatever, and you just say, the guilt doesn't work on me. Some people may find that offensive, but the truth is, you are standing up for your core beliefs. And like one of the videos I mentioned before, your personal ID, your vision, your self-esteem, your goals, you're standing up for that. And eventually people are just they're going to quit. Because the more guilt is tried to be forced into you, the more someone else or some other thing risks going even lower than where they're trying to get away from. Because most of the time, placing guilt on someone else is really one's own way of trying to get themselves out of a situation. And eventually, when you realize that you're just digging a deeper hole, what do we usually do? We move on because we don't want to go deeper. We want to go higher. So we break off whatever we're doing and we go our separate ways or whatever. But you bring what is kind of an underground mentality, secretly trying to place guilt on something. When you take that underground reality and you bring it to the surface and you expose it to the light, guilt will die. Guilt cannot survive once it is exposed. Have you ever been, maybe you've had a mindset at a certain point in your life, like myself, that really wasn't that great, and you placed blame on everybody else. And one time you were called out on that blame or that guilt trip that you're trying to give. What happened when you were called out and it was exposed? It died. Because it's exposed to the elements, it cannot survive. But negativity is often most unusable when it's unmasked. And when it is able to be masked, that's when it's able to be most effective. So anytime you get in a situation where you start to feel like somebody's trying to put the doubt on you, they may not purposely even be trying to, guys. They might just be in this mindset of blame that they don't even want to be in. So, in the kindest way possible, because there's ways to do this and be subtle. Call the guilt out. Call the blame out. It's a very good chance that you're going to be helping somebody, especially if they're a good friend or a good colleague, good coworker, family member that's not trying to. You might help them realize where the boundaries are, and by giving them that realization, they might be able to take that opportunity, go look in the mirror and say, you know what, I got to change because I like myself. I got to change. I got to do more. See, when you bring it to the surface, guilt will struggle to survive. Guilt is very stubborn. It's like a depression. It's like stress. It wants to hang on. But when you bring it up, it can't survive. So whatever you're doing today, ask yourself, is there any situations where you feel guilty that you really, really in your heart are feeling that you shouldn't be? Because that's the situations where you need to approach it. Approach it with the attitude of, this can't affect me. I will not allow it. Bring it to the surface and allow it to die. So I wanted to throw that out there today, because the issue of guilt's kind of been something I've been thinking about the last day or two, and I just wanted to share that with you. But no one has a right to make you feel guilty. And if you feel guilty, it's only because you've allowed that to go underground and survive in you. Pull it up and let it die. Guys, have a great week ahead, and stay focused and stay sharp. Take care.